Here we go, Sebastian Loeb. He's kind of given up this afternoon.
Yeah, interesting. So let's have a quick rundown then. Hirvonen, 5:21.7. Latvala, our rally leader coming into the stage, just 7/10 of a second behind his teammate. Henning Solberg still in third at the minute.
He's off!
Oh, really wide by Loeb.
That's good for Latvala. Latvala, we're hoping he's seen that.
Well, this is another sign. We've seen it in, well, nearly every power stage so far. Loeb's given it a go. He actually holds the best record in the power stages, doesn't he?
Yes, he's the only person who's finished on the podium in all three.
So Loeb, well, he's dropped back a little bit this morning. He slipped to third, started the day in second, hoping to take the fight to his teammate. He's not been able to do that. Half a second.
That's on Hirvonen, that is. Half a second.
Wow.
And he's off, been off slightly, not a long way off, maybe a metre or two wider into the sand.
Yeah, this has been another fine finish to the rally for Loeb. He's had his problems as well today, but he's one of the drivers that he knows that he's such a competitive beast. He wants every available point he can get, and these power stages have just provided another opportunity for him to get some.
Well, it has, that's it. I mean, these cars are just getting so much. Look at the speed.
Incredible speed for Sebastian Loeb. He started the stage 27.4 seconds down on his teammate Ogier. He's hardly likely to get back involved in the fight for second, but he's giving it everything to get the 3 points for this power stage win. Let's have a look at his time. 5:21.7 to beat. 5:22 then Mikko hangs on. Well, relief and almost surprise for Mikko and Jarmo Leitonen there. Wow. Whew. Big smile on the face for Mikko.
Well, there's one to go, so Mikko's guaranteed at least second.
Yep.
There's a worried look. Look at Latvala. He's so worried now. So worried.
He's giving it everything. What a finish to the rally. What a grandstand finale we're seeing here in Jordan. Mikko's hanging on by the skin of his teeth to the power stage, and Jari-Matti Latvala is hanging on by the skin of his teeth for the overall win. It all counts now on the man who's working his way through the stage. Have a quick look at Loeb again.
He just understeers wide, and he's into like the sand.
You can barely see where the road is, can you?
And he still set a really quick time, but not quite fastest. Hirvonen still stands at that. Latvala, this is going to be the most nervous 2.5 minutes probably for definitely this year, if not for his career, because when he won in New Zealand last year, he didn't know he had a chance of winning. He didn't know everyone else had had a problem.
Anyway,
but here is the man.
Here we go. This is the man. That's the time to beat 5:21.7 to get in the power stage mix, but he won't be too concerned about that at the moment. He's firmly fixed on the time of 5:22.4 that was set by Jari-Matti Latvala for the overall stage win. This is the closest rally I can remember since New Zealand a few years ago when Sebastian Loeb and Marcus Gronholm went at it, hammer and tong. Right, look at that. He's quicker.
Minus 0.4.
That's 0.4, remember, on the Mikko Hirvonen's time in this power stage. That's not the time to Latvala, remember, but that is going to be good enough to get past Latvala if he can continue that right the way through this stage.
My maths isn't great, but I'm thinking he has to do a 5:21.8. I'm thinking. Don't quote me on that if it goes wrong. No. That's what I've kind of worked out, but he's on it. He's not quite as spectacular through there as what Latvala was.
The Ford
a little bit more controlled.
Waiting.
Yeah, he's worried.
And rightly so. He's worked so hard to get back in the mix. But this has been a terrific rally from Sebastian Ogier. Remember, look at that, really almost over the edge of the road there on that crest.
Big cut there.
Absolutely nailing it through here. And, well, he needs to. It was his gamble, wasn't it, to stay out in front. He survived 100 kilometres of road sweeping so far. He's only just lost the rally lead. He comes into this final stage just 5/10 of a second off the lead, and he wants that lead back, and he wants the power stage win to boot. Both these four drivers need to be worried.
Look at his eyes, they're like on stalks.
He normally looks quite relaxed, but I'll tell you what, he actually looks like he's not quite so comfortable in there this morning.
The limit of these drivers. Look how wide he is compared to everyone else.
Anything under 5:21.7, he'll take both the power stage win and the overall win. Let's have a look. 5:21.7, he's equalled Mikko. He takes the overall win by 1/10 of a second, and it's a dead heat with Mikko in the power stage. He must have taken it.
Look at Jari.
He must have taken it by the nearest 100th of a second. You won't see it in that time, but our times will go to the nearest 100th of a second. Mikko.
He doesn't know yet. He doesn't know.
Wow, what a finish to Rallye. Jordan, that's not something else. Jari-Matti Latvala, he's absolutely gutted, but rightly so, straight over to congratulate Sébastien Ogier for a thrilling finale to this event. 1/10 of a second I make that in the overall standings. That, I believe, is the closest ever finish we've ever seen in a World Rally Championship. And the power stage win to boot.
I had to push like hell today because Jari-Matti was so hard. And that's live television, boys. Live television, move! Yeah, it's live! It's live! No, it's okay.
All getting a bit busy down there. The world's media are all trying to get a piece of this. Well, it's been a moment in history, understandably getting a little bit heated down there.
It's been a fantastic drive for you this weekend. You must be delighted.
It's an amazing feeling. I pushed like hell today because Jari-Matti was so fast. He made some incredible time this morning and I was absolutely flat out. I had to clean the road even on the loop. I think it was maybe worse on this loop because for me it was just impossible to be faster than that. And yeah, I'm so happy with the end like this.
And also, you've also won the power stage, so that's 3 extra points for you. You must be even more pleased.
28 points. Just perfect weekend for me.
Okay, good. And did Jari-Matti's pace surprise you after dinner?
Ogier is our winner, and after 160 miles, it came down to 1/10 of a second. See you in a couple of minutes. And these are the pictures of Sébastien Ogier. There in the red overalls, he's got a frame and take home and put on his mantelpiece. Another win in the World Rally Championship. He takes the power stage and he takes the rally as well by the closest ever margin. After 160 miles, it came down to 1/10 of a second. When are we going to show you the full story of the Jordan Rally? It comes tonight at 9:45 with an explanation, I guess, of where Petter Solberg finished. But that was a breathtaking and incredible finish. Full story tonight. Also, don't forget, on Good Friday, so that's Friday coming, access all areas. See at 10 o'clock in the evening for an inside view of how that rally was won and lost. Here's a reminder of all the drama from the power stage. Our winner, Sébastien Ogier, with 3 extra points. Hirvonen takes a couple of extra points, and Sébastien Loeb has to settle for the 1. And there is our result. And can you believe it? By 2/10 of a second, it's Ogier from Latvala. Sébastien Loeb settles for 3rd. Mikko Hirvonen in 4th. And we should say well done to Matthew Wilson, finishing 5 minutes and 44.9 seconds back. But in 5th place, that's a tremendous performance from him. Phil Mills in the studio with me this afternoon. Absolutely brilliant. And Jari-Matti Latvala is going to look back and say it came down to 1 big bump.
It did. It's incredible that you go through 2 days of that, you know, just to trip up on 1 corner. But, you know, that's the fine line that World Rally Motorsport has come to now. It's all down to 1 corner, 1 mistake, and it's as fine a line as that, which is fantastic.
He was ragged. He wasn't as neat as Sébastien Loeb. He wasn't as neat as Sébastien Ogier.
I think it's a classic case of overdriving. You get to the magic line, and then after that, you think you're trying harder, but you're actually going slower, and I think he just pushed it that little bit too much.
And Jari-Matti finished, or his car, most of his car finished the stage, and I guess he's going to go back and be disappointed and say, how can I, after all of that, be all over the shop on the very last stage, the last 10K?
He will. He's very critical of himself, and he'll go back and have a long talk with himself. But he lost the front aero on the right-hand corner there. That makes a very big difference. These cars are designed in wind tunnels now, and that big chunk of front bumper missing will have probably been the difference. Never mind the wide on the corner and so on, but that piece of aero is more important than you'd ever realise.
And in a bit of a world where you need your landmarks, you need to know where you are going, Sébastien Ogier was the neatest of them all. And stayed on the stage, even though it was difficult to find.
You've got to say he is top of his game. He's sort of he's going through the footsteps of what Sébastien Loeb did a few years ago. He's faultless. He's not making any mistakes at the moment, and he's looking good. You know, he's at the top of his game.
Now, this is going to be a big psychological boost for this guy, because he's going to say, I am now the new Sebastian of the World Rally Championship, isn't he?
Absolutely, and there is, behind the scenes, there's quite a little battle going on between the two, even though they share the same service tent. But there is quite a little battle going on there, and there's some big egos around the place, so it's going to be quite interesting how this one develops.
It is incredible that this result could come down to one corner, or did it come down to one rock after 160 miles, and that shows you just how neat you got to be.
It is. I mean, I'll go back to what I say in the long River of Jordan stage yesterday. I think Sebastian Loeb got it wrong. I think when you see the interviews afterwards, I think he will admit that he got it wrong by about 10 seconds. For some reason, I don't know why, but it took the fight out of him today. I think he thought, right, look after my tyres for the last stage. I'll do everything to look after my car and keep the tyres in tip-top condition. But even that wasn't good enough. But I think he made a mistake yesterday.
And, you know, Citroën weren't too keen on going to Jordan when the whole event was in question. It was a gravel rally, and here is their man who has come good. And when we look at the championship standings now, after 4 events of the 13 that we're going to get in 2011, Mikko Hirvonen was the leader. He is no longer. He trails by 2 points to Sebastian Loeb, with Hirvonen in second, Ogier in third up with 69, and Jari-Matti Latvala with 66. This is an incredible championship as we head to Sardinia. After that, Solberg, Osberg and Wilson. That is pretty good. That's a handful of points separating 4 top drivers.
It's a championship drive. They're all going for the championship. They're not going for the individual events. Get the points in the bag, keep throwing them in there. And of course, row position on the next round is quite important as well. So if you look at Latvala and Ogier's performance this weekend, they've got a very good row position on day 1 of the next event now, which is very important.
Sebastian Ogier is going to say, listen, sprint rallies, I quite like these 2 days, bring them on, let's have some more.
Well, it's worked for him this weekend. It won't work everywhere, but you know, as I said before, that they've been looking at a 2-day event for a long time, even a 1-day wonder, and I think it has worked. It's worked very well. It's been flat out from the first corner to the last one, and people are going to look at this now, and the people who make the decisions, I think they might come up with something new. We
have to go back to one of close finishes. We have to go back an awful long way to find the closest to that, which was
New Zealand about 3 years ago with Marcus Grönholm. It was 0.3 of a second on the last super special in Mystery Creek in New Zealand. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I was also going to say, as we go into this, the next event, we have ourselves a championship in which, I mean, I guess the tyre issue today was one that was important. There were a couple of guys who were making the point, look, you can't go bringing in new tyres, whether they be stronger and better or not. Well, we've only got 2 days of running to go. But I think now 1 or 2 will say, well, OK, then we'll stick with these tyres. I like these.
They are, and that's the nice thing about a control tyre. It doesn't matter if you're car 1 or car 21, you've still got the same tyre. They come from the same batch. They introduced the new tyre. There hasn't been one puncher here this weekend that we know about, unless somebody, you know, deliberately hit a huge rock. But obviously Michelin have worked very, very hard. They've got it right. They've produced a tyre that hasn't produced a puncher, so good for them.
Phil, thank you. Let's do this next. This is what we have to show you. Rally World comes up on the 29th of April. It's 9:30 in the evening. Make sure you're there for that. What else? How about this? This is where Mini makes its debut, back for the first time since the 60s. 9:30 on the Friday, 9:45 in the evening on the Saturday, 9:45 on the Sunday as well. And when do we have our power stage? Well, that's in 3 weeks' time when we are in Sardinia. And we will join you, look at that, at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, the 8th of May. And this man will be back. Phil, we have a British brand looking good in Sardinia. What chance have they got in a couple of seconds?
Very good chance. I just hope that they turn up and do a really good job. Nobody's expecting them to win, but as long as they're, you know, competitive, that's all we want.
Is Sardinia the right place to be launching their championship?
It's a tough one, I can tell you. There's some big, big rocks stuck in the sand there, and there's always a surprise around the corner. But British driver, British car, fantastic.
Look, Chris Meek, who has sat in that very seat, what will he have said and thought to himself as he's watched today's programme? Will he be confident?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so competitive today. He'd be thinking, well, I've got to go out there and do at least that now, you know. But as I say, nobody's expecting him to win. Just be competitive.
Good. Phil, thanks for joining us. Brilliant to have you. We will see you in 3 weeks' time for the power stage with Mini from Sardinia. Hope you've enjoyed today. See you then.